Now, the data that we have here came in just fine for the most part, except we were expecting column D that has about 4 fields of information in it. We were expecting that to come in as 4 separate columns. Now, we learned in a previous video that we could maybe use a combination of maybe the left function, the right function, and the mid function to kind of maybe pull, certain parts out. The problem here is that each of the fields has a varied amount of characters in there, so it's going to be kind of hard to do those features enough to where we can get everything over into E, F, G, and H. So there was a tool that came about a few versions ago, and it's in here in the data tab over here, and it's called text to columns. And what it does, it takes a string of information that you might have in one column where there might be some sort of a delimiter, a common delimiter. In this case, the delimiter or separator is a space in here, okay? And it's able to then take each of those pieces and pull them off, copy them off into separate columns based on that delimiter or that space that we have in there. So it's kind of interesting because we don't really need to use a formula here. It's actually just a tool, but it used to be done with a set of formula, and it was unbelievable how much work you had to put into the formulas to get this to come out. You'd have to do 4 huge formulas to make this happen. And I remember when I used to teach that, and people would just say, are you kidding me? Or you think I'm going to remember how to do this? So this is much easier, all right, as you'll see here. So the first thing you want to do is just make sure you've got an area open that you'll eventually be able to copy this information into. So we've got that. And then what you'll do is you'll select this area just like that. You'll go over to your data tab, and you'll go over to your text to columns. You'll click onto that. And the first thing that'll come up in this wizard is the fact that the data is delimited, which it is. It's delimited, meaning it's separated. Each of the fields is separated, in this case, by a space. Okay, and that delimited just means separated, but more specifically, it's separated by space. If for some reason it comes up like that where it shows it being fixed, don't believe it and don't go along with it, because you're not going to be able to get the information separated out. This is a horrid choice here. So you always want to go with delimited. So if this happens, just override it and click on the delimited like that, okay? Now, there's your data, all right? Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit next. And this is where it wants to know what the delimiter is. Well, the delimiter obviously is not a tab, so we'll just take that off. What is it? Well, in this case, I think it's a space. So I'll click on a space. There we go. Pretty neat. That's it. That's all you have to do there. If for some reason the delimiter is something else that's in there, maybe it's an asterisk or whatever, you can put that character here, and then you'll get that same separation coming out. Now we'll go ahead and hit next. And in this situation, you need to tell it, there's a few things you need to do. You need to tell it what type of data you have here, okay? Now, in this first case, this type of data here is what we would refer to as text. So while we're on this one, we would choose text, just like that, all right? For the second one, that too is text. For the third one, you'd immediately think, oh, that's numbers, right? And that's why it says general. The problem, though, is that these are zip codes, and they have trailing zeros in them. And if you leave it as general, the ultimate result will be that you'll end up getting, in this case, 123, 801, 6147, and so forth. In other words, it'll get rid of the zeros because technically the zeros are not a number. In other words, that right there is not a number. Okay, it's a set of numbers, but technically it's not a value of a number, right? And that's what's going to happen. So the best way to treat this is to treat it as text. So we go ahead and just click on the text for that one. And for the very last one, for this one here, this one needs to be set as a date. So, and you can click onto here. You can pick the format that you want. I think the month, day, year is the most common, so you can just kind of leave it there. The other thing that we need to worry about is where do we want the first piece of information to be placed. We want really it to be placed here, but you'll notice how the destination says it's going to start at D2. So it's going to override this. It'll wipe all this out. You'll get Eugene here. You'll get USA here. You'll get your zip code here. All right. And then you'll get the date here. So that'll be all off. So what you want to do here is we can just kind of select that area there, click onto here, and that's it. Once you've done all that, you go ahead and hit finish, and voila. And of course, you're going to get these little green wedges here letting you know that this is being stored as text. And we can actually just click onto there and kind of drag it all the way down. And we're going to fix it right off just like this. And you can click onto there and it'll say the number is being stored as text. It's like, that's fine, that's what we want. So we're going to go with ignore error, and that way the green guys go away. And that's it. So that's how we fix up our data. That's how we get the data kind of split up. An option, at the end here can also be, you can actually get rid of this because this is not formula dependent on that. So we can actually just click on a D, right click it, whatever, hit the delete, and off it goes. And now you're back to your information. So that's how you wanted it. And without me doing all this talking, you could have knocked this off in about a minute. So that's how quick and easy this feature is. So hopefully this will come in to be useful for something that you'll run into in the future. Hope you liked the video.